Kurt Russell makes for a great Santa Claus. His interpretation of this character is someone who's sarcastic, but also caring. Not afraid to get his hands dirty, but also kind of a trickster. It's actually one of the more dynamic portrayals of Santa I've seen in a while. Sometimes he can get fed up, but when he's talking to people one-on-one, you can tell he genuinely cares for them, even when they're adults and they're technically not under his purview any longer, which is nice. There are actually a lot of nice touches to the Santa mythos. I really like how in this film's universe, if someone who's naughty tries to open one of Santa's presents, or a present that's not theirs, it will turn into coal. Also, I like how they communicated that idea to the audience without having them to explain it. Well, I can now say I've seen a movie in which Santa's in a car chase trying to outrun the police. My life is now complete. Okay, the themes and character motivations associated with the two kids is not exactly original. They're upset because this will be the first Christmas without their dad, and the older boy begins acting out in self-destructive ways. That being said, the film doesn't do a terrible job at presenting it. The acting is just good enough that you can buy their turmoil, and I think they do make the older brother's character arc more believable by having him not be a wholly unlikable pill at the start. They give him just enough likability so that you're invested in him. In my opinion, Christmas movies tend to live or die by how they end. It has to stick the landing or else the entire thing just kind of falls flat. Thankfully, this film does have a very solid ending. Sure, it has its predictable moments, but the ending does have a genuineness and sense of warmth that we come to expect from holiday films, but without getting overly schmaltzy. The film is surprisingly inconsistent with how it portrays whether or not adults believe in Santa in this universe. I mean, Claire certainly acts like she's not surprised that Santa left her kids presents, but the cops have a hard time believing that Santa is Santa, even when he starts doing miraculous things. I don't care which interpretation you pick for the film, but can you at least just pick one and stick with it? Yeah, Santa is so elusive and nobody's ever seen him, and yet he leaves his sleigh levitating in the middle of a residential street at only 10:38 p.m. at night. I think the real question is, how has somebody not spotted him before? The CGI on the elves leaves something to be desired. I never bought that they were really there for even a second, and yeah, the same goes for the reindeer too. I know, MST3K mantra and all that, but if you're trying to convince me that the characters are on a deadline, that they have to complete everything before a certain time, and yet they often take their own sweet time doing things, like either by having a quiet heart-to-heart talk or gaping at Santa's workshop, you're not exactly doing a good job of convincing me of the urgency of the situation. Some of the tonal inconsistencies are jarring. For instance, there are a few moments or aspects that were clearly intended for really little kids, like pretty much anything with the aforementioned elves, and some of the more slapsticky moments. But then there's some of the more adult aspects of the film, like having Santa being arrested, or the scene in which Teddy is kidnapped by a gang and they threaten to kill him, and the scene in the jail in which Santa sings a sexually suggestive song with the inmates. These things don't always mesh together, and it can be, like I said, jarring. Thank you so much for watching. If you have another film that you'd like to see me tackle, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Have a good day, and I'll see you next time.